There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast. Hey guys, this is Jim Huntsman with the Western Huntsman Podcast, coming at you from the Broken Tine studio right here in Hayden, Idaho. And what we're doing, this is kind of a new little concept we're doing. I'm taking a lot of the questions that you guys have been sending into the show and sending into me that, I feel like you think I'm an expert on it, but I'm not. And so I want to provide some of that expertise to you guys, because you're taking the time to ask me the questions. And so what we're going to be doing is about, once or twice a month, I'm going to have these little bonus episodes that are about 20 minutes like this. And I'm going to get an expert on to answer a lot of the common questions that I get on the show. And so in this case, my pal right up here in North Idaho, Eric Warren, owns a company called Westwood Archery. And what we're going to be talking about is kind of general maintenance, bow tuning, looking, just kind of making sure your bow is good for season. Because a lot of you in this audience are bow hunters, and, you're after my own heart. I'm a bow hunter. And what's funny is, like, I've been hunting with a bow for a long time, but I really don't know how to identify some of the big problems you can get with a bow. So that's kind of the idea behind this, and this is the first of many. We're gonna have topics on rifle hunting. We're gonna have topics on sighting in rifles, and maybe a caliber discussion, things like that. So I don't want any of my rifle hunters out there to get bent out of shape that we're not talking about that. But this one specifically is talking about bows. Eric, my man, I appreciate you coming on the show. How you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's Friday night, and I poured a whiskey. We were just talking. What are you drinking tonight?
Some whiskey from Willie's Distillery down in Enos, Montana.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. What kind of whiskey? What kind of whiskey is that? Is that like a Kentucky bourbon or?
This one's actually a honey moonshine.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty strong stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Probably kill me over, dude.
Oh no, nice and smooth.
So tell us a little bit before we kick this off, dude. Tell us a little bit about Westwood Archery.
I've been shooting, bows for a long time, and decided I wanted to start doing my own thing. And I've been working on my own bow for a while, and decided to, start up my own business, and started just working on people's stuff here and there, and then got into building strings as kind of the way to not outsource and kind of just keep that in-house, and kind of found a little niche and just making custom bow strings for people. And the nice thing about the strings I make, they're with a new company called Bloodline Fiber, and a nice thing about them, they're actually a waxless bowstring. You don't have to worry about waxing string all the time.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Okay, so I'm bringing my bow to you, dude.
Sounds
Because
good.
you're just down the road from me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Because I forget. I'll be out shooting or whatever, and then I'll forget to wax up my strings. And gosh, it almost sounds kinky saying that, but and so. No, that's cool, man. You are, I believe, the one that kind of lined me up with Tony Wintrip, the elk singer that I had on the show a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And that was a fun conversation I had with him.
Yeah. Tony's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. He's a cool dude. I'm hoping he's going to take me up on my offer to come over and elk hunt with me, or I can't remember if it was elk hunting or bear hunting we were talking about, but he was going to come over here and bring his guitar. So we're going to do some, unplugged sessions around the campfire at night and hunting during the day. And I think that'd be a good time, and you should join us.
I would love to.
Yeah, that'd be a ball. So, all right. So I told you I got a bunch of questions that I get. And
Right.
I know this is like what do they call that? A shotgun round of questions or whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, because you're an expert with strings, bow strings, and I want
Yeah.
to talk about like when a lot of hunters, they go through the winter, they're both sitting in the basement or in a closet somewhere, they're not shooting a lot. Not saying that's right, but I'm saying that that's what happens a lot, and let's just be realistic. We come into spring and it's time to start firing up the bow and getting it ready. Season's around the corner. Maybe they're going out bow hunting for spring bear or whatever. When they pull that bow out of the case and they're inspecting the strings, what kind of things are they looking for to determine whether or not that bow is, viable, it's safe, the strings are good, they're not going to come and take their eye out or something crazy, what do you recommend with that?
I mean, if the string's not totally frayed out, complete, kind of dried out over time, and how old their strings are.
What that actually, you bring up a good point. The age of strings. What do you recommend in terms of and I know that's going to vary depending on the
shooter.
the quality and the shooter and the strings and all that kind of stuff. But is there like a general rule of thumb that you use for age of strings before you need to change them out?
I usually say 1 to 2 years. I prefer 1 year, but I mean, if you don't shoot a lot, you can get away with 2 years. But just to be safe, because when you draw back and on a bull of a lifetime or buck of a lifetime, you want to make sure that the string's not going to break.
I'm terrified of that too, and I was telling you this before we started recording. Like I'm terrified that I'm going to draw back, and it's going to be like what you said. There's going to be this bull of a lifetime, a 350 North Idaho bull, screaming his eyeballs out at me, and I'm going to draw back and snap. That thing's going to take me out.
Yeah.
So you're looking for. So anyways, getting back to that. So 1 to 2 years is what you recommend, huh?
That's what I recommend, but anybody, everybody's different.
Are there any like telltale signs when you pull your bow out of your case and you look at the strings and you're like, holy shit, man, these things are screwed. I can't even shoot a target with this.
I mean, you just got fuzzies everywhere, and you just can't. It's not. You got thin D-loop material. You got, or your center servings. Your narrows barely not staying on your center serving because it's almost falling off, and you have to almost kind of keep it on your finger. It's a pretty good telltale.
So, and when hunters are looking at this, they've gone through the winter. And they're pulling out their bow for the spring and maybe thinking about doing some 3D archery shoots and all that kind of stuff. Is there like some, you talked about like the frayed, it looks like it's which mine is. I'm looking at my bow right now. It's actually, I've got a couch in front of my desk where I record.
Right.
And my bow is sitting there. I need to put it up, but I shoot it quite a bit. And it's at the point where I think it's dangerous. I better not shoot this thing anymore until I get it restrung. Gosh, man, I totally forgot my line of questioning I was going with there. I got sidetracked by looking at the bow. I guess I don't know. I don't know how to phrase that. So let's switch gears here. When we're talking, I hear the term getting your bow tuned up. Can you talk about what a bow tune-up is and why people do it?
Yeah. One of the things is to make sure, especially the dual cam bows out there nowadays, most bows are going to dual cams. Make sure it's in time. If it's not in time, your shot's not going to be consistent, time in and time out. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the biggest things, is to make sure your bow's in time. And you can kind of do that yourself. Some of the bows have static timing marks, everything lines up, your bow's in tune. If not, if you have an older bow or different kind of bow, you can draw it back and have one of your friends see if everything contacts the same, but it's kind of hard to do it that way. The best way to do it is take it to a pro shop, or if you have a bow, a draw board, you can, do it that way. But the best way is, take it to a pro shop and have them check it out for you.
So like Westwood Archery, are you guys a pro shop? Do you tune up bows and stuff?
We do. Yes.
And you guys just kind of started like a year ago or so?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
It was when the actual business started. That doesn't take away from the fact that you got tons of experience, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, and so kind of a side question here that I got. Again, I told you this was like the lightning round.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a dude gets fed up with bow hunting, puts his bow up, sits in the basement in a case for like 6 years, and then gets a wild hair, and he's like, okay, I'm going to be a bow hunter again. I'm not going to be frustrated anymore. Gets it out. Do you think those strings are good sitting there that long, or I've always wondered that? Because I know a dude that does that. So I worry about it.
Right. I mean, if everything looks good, it's not really going to hurt it that much. I mean, especially if he waxed or took care of it before he put it up, got frustrated with the sport. But, pull it back and see what it does.
Yeah, I guess that's
or take it to the pro shop and have it checked over. That's the safest bet.
I think a lot of dudes worry with that, though. They're like, it's like you take your car into the car dealer and you're like, yeah, that's making this noise. And they're like, oh, man, you just need a new car. Right?
Right.
And so does that happen a lot in the bow world?
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah. But, it's not, I mean, wouldn't try to push a new bow on somebody, especially if they're comfortable with their old bow.
Do you guys even sell bows at your shop?
I can get bows in if need be, but right now I'm not selling bows, just accessories and arrows and strings.
Yeah. And you make arrows, don't you?
Yeah, I custom build arrows. I'm a dealer for Black Eagle arrows, and I can get all other manufacturers in as well, but I prefer the Black Eagle arrows right now.
Those are the ones on your website here. I'm checking out.
Yes.
I'm on your website. So, and that's westwoodarchery.com for all my North Idaho peeps. Do you do any stuff with like trad bows or anything, or is it all compound?
I do trad bows. I can do the Flemish twist on trad bows and get them all set up if they need be.
Sweet. So, getting back to kind of like that maintenance, that tune-up thing. Like, what kind of maintenance do you recommend? And I'm not talking about like the waxless bowstrings that you use. When you're
right.
Somebody's just got a bow. There's going to be a lot of people listening to this that they bought a new bow a couple years ago or whatever, and they're just curious about taking care of their bowstrings. What's bad for bowstrings? What's good for bowstrings? What kind of maintenance goes into those?
Just wax it, every so often. Actually, it's really not that great. I've always came to find out not to really carry it by your bowstring. It kind of just puts more wear and little.
Yeah, we see that a lot on like YouTube videos, dudes, and I'm guilty of that. I'll carry my bow around by the string. That's bad for it.
It's not that bad for it, but it's just more pulling on it a little bit. It's just I prefer not to. I just always hold it by the riser.
Okay, cool. That's good to know because I mean I'm learning for sure.
Right.
And so there's not a ton of maintenance. What's bad for a bowstring is like I've always wondered. I always worry when I'm out hunting and I'm in the rain, and I know that's not supposed to affect it, but I mean You got to think that moisture, water, all that is the one element on the earth that kind of breaks shit down. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And deteriorates. And so like, is there a way? Or I mean, just speak to that for a minute. What's really bad for your strings?
Like you said, just pretty much the weather, and that the elements and stuff, and especially if you're not taking care of it, that can deteriorate your string a little bit over time.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I get up at 3:30 in the morning, and I drive to my hunting spot, and I get my bow out. And it's like, at this point it's 6 in the morning or sun up or whatever. And I'm getting geared up. So I take my bow out and I set it on the hood of my truck, which is hot from the drive up.
Right.
I know that sounds obvious, but I do that a lot. And then I think, man, I probably shouldn't have put it up there because that hood's pretty hot.
Right.
That's bad for the strings, you think?
Not as bad as I don't think is, just the other elements, harsh elements, water and snow and stuff.
Okay, and then the last question in this lightning round of questions here is going to be along the lines of what you recommend. And I know this is super suggestive, and there's a lot of different opinions on it. But can we talk about for a minute, like the what you recommend arrow setup for a bow and maybe poundage and things like that?
It's going to be kind of specific. Like if you're going for that heavy FOC, then you're going to kind of want a little bit stiffer spine on that arrow, because if it's not, spine correctly, it's going to come out of your bow all wacky and not accurate. I prefer a heavier arrow for almost everything. It's, it's quieter, has more, impact, more energy when it hits. So yeah, it kind of depends on I guess what you're after.
Like heavy weighted arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a broadhead recommendation?
Right now I'm shooting actually the Day 6 broadheads, the EVOs. They've been great, face blade.
Good blood trail and all that.
Oh yeah, and then I also do like the Exodus for it's a great head that tunes really well with your field points.
For guys that are just getting into bow hunting, I know I threatened that was the last question, but now I got more questions. For guys just getting into bow hunting, can you explain what like the spine is in an arrow? Maybe talk a little bit about FOC for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how heavier, like the poundage of your bow you're shooting. Like a 400 spine on arrows could be more flexible than like a 340 or a 300. And if you want to do like your heavy FOC, it's going to be your front of center. What's the big thing right now is front of center. Everybody's, hey, I got to have a whole bunch of weight up front, to help steer my arrow correctly. But like I said, if you go too heavy on the FOC and you don't have that right spine, it's, your arrow is not going to fly straight. So a guy can be listening to this or gal, they're just getting into bow hunting. I mean, obviously, what I would recommend, and tell me if I'm off base, but what I would recommend is go to like a local bow shop that you trust to get you set up with. Exactly.
And I'm talking about. Well, I'm not going to pick on that particular store. I'm talking about a bow shop where they're actual bow hunters, and right. they're not like some. How do I say that without offending anybody? I don't want to offend anybody, but you know what I mean.
Store.
Yeah, exactly. You go into a box store and, well, let me put it to you this way. My day job, I'm in the roofing industry, and right. I was in Home Depot not very long ago. And I'm looking for something for my place that I know a lot about it, right? Obviously I'm in the roofing industry, but my house I sprung a little leak, and so I'm in the roofing aisle, and this dude comes walking around the corner that works at Home Depot and starts yakking up a storm about how I need this and how I need that. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and I know what he's implying, but he's dead wrong about what the appropriate fix and repair for my leak is. And right. My wife's with me, and I embarrassed the hell out of her because I'm like, dude, I got this. Just go away. like he annoyed me, So we're talking right. about that kind of scenario where what you want to find in a bow shop is somebody that actually hunts. They know what they're doing. This is their career. This is their passion. And is there anything I'm missing that people should look for in a good bow shop? Because not everybody's in North Idaho, right?
Right. And then just make sure they kind of listen to what you want. Don't let them kind of force you what they want.
Oh, that's a good point, man. Don't let them steamroll you, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because most people are smart enough, to get into it. They've done a little bit of research. They kind of know what they want, but don't let them bully you into what they think you need.
I dig it, man. I dig it. What am I missing? Am I missing anything in terms of bows, bow strings, arrows? Just kind of
get out and shoot.
Get out and shoot. I like that.
Yeah.
So what do you say to those dudes and I would say dudes, hunters, whether guy or gal, they get out there like 2 weeks before September and start shooting their bow and don't practice outside of the year from that? What do you say to them?
Right. Happens way too often. Yeah. Tried to shoot a little sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
No, I think any serious hunter needs to, there's a lot of stuff out there to give you the opportunity to get out and shoot. There's exactly. 3D archery tournaments or just ranges that you can go out, and those are really good because they put you in a lot of different, scenarios. Learn your bow. Learn the difference between shooting straight versus uphill versus downhill, and just get those arrows flinging, man. If those arrows ain't flying, they ain't dying.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge difference between shooting flat or shooting uphill or downhill.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Well, where can people find Westwood Archery?
I'm on Instagram at just Westwood Archery. I have Facebook at Westwood Archery also,
Okay.
and on the website at westwoodarchery.com.
All right, guys. I'm going to put all that in the show notes, and if you guys want to check that out, obviously, if you're in North Idaho, I know Eric. He does really good bowstrings, and it's all custom stuff. And he'll point you in the right direction if you're up in my neck of the woods. Eric's he's my go-to guy now that we know each other a little bit better, right? So
Right.
I think that's an important part, and it's one thing I would tell, especially new hunters coming into the bow hunting arena, is try to build a relationship with your bow shop and know the people, and so that you're not a stranger every time you go in there. You're not just another customer. There's a relationship there, and you're going to get a lot more out of having that relationship, and a lot more out of your bow and everything that goes into it. I think that's super important. So Eric, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
I appreciate me on the show. Thanks for
This was
thanks for
awesome.
inviting me.
I know this was a quick one. We might have to do like a full-on episode sometime, huh?
I would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah,
there's a lot more information that could be put out there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll plan on that. I was telling you on the phone, my studio's kind of in a remodel stage, and I'm already way behind schedule because that's how I roll. But as soon as this thing's all put back together and paint's on and new floors are in and all that kind of stuff, I'll get you in the studio and we'll actually have a whiskey together, and we'll talk more bow hunting, man.
That'd be awesome.
Well, thanks a bunch for coming on, and guys, check it out in the show notes, Westwood Archery, and have a great weekend and week, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.